mother sips tea, chatting with her neighbor. Just another casual evening until the neighbor mentions, Sharmaji's son got 98%. They've been using Byju's. She watches her child struggle with math. A knot forms in her stomach. Are we falling behind? The very next day, she receives a call. Ma'am, your child is in class 8, right? Only 12% cracked JEE without early prep. But don't worry, we'll help. And just like that, one phone and 30 minutes later, she had signed up for a 1,35,000 rupee course. Without realizing, she had taken a loan. But here's what she didn't know, and millions of Indian parents didn't know. She had just become part of the biggest educational scam in Indian history. This scene played out in millions of Indian homes. The academic pressure was crushing. The fear of children falling behind was real. And Byju's became masters at turning parental anxiety into billion-dollar profits. From 25 students in a classroom in 2011, they exploded to 150 million users by 2021. Their valuation hit $22 billion, making them India's most valuable startup ever. A company once worth more than entire countries was now removed from Google Play Store. How does a company rise this fast and crash this hard? Today, I'll show you exactly why Byju's deserved to fail and why this spectacular collapse was not just predictable, it was inevitable. Hi, this is Hiral and welcome to Level Up with Hiral. Please subscribe for more such deep dives because for you it's just the click of a button. But for us, it means the world. It helps us reach many more amazing people like you. The story begins in Azhikode, a small village in Kerala in 1980. Byju Ravindran was born into an ordinary family. Nothing suggested he would one day build India's most valuable startup. While working in the shipping company, he started helping his friends prepare for CAT, the entrance exam for India's top business schools. Teaching came to him naturally. To test his own abilities, he decided to take the CAT exam himself. The result? 100 percentile, perfect score. He took the exam again. Another 100 percentile. But here's the twist. Despite getting admission offers from top IIMs, he never joined any of them. Why? Because he had discovered his true passion, teaching. Byju started conducting free mathematics workshops. Word spread quickly about this young engineer who could make complex topics simple. His workshops became so popular that at one point, over 20,000 students attended a single session. Imagine 20,000 students in a hall, all hanging onto every word of a mechanical engineer from a small Kerala village. He started taking classes and expanding soon. At one point, he was traveling to 3 cities in a week just to teach all his students. It became very difficult to keep up with his routine without a break. So, in 2009, he started recording these workshops and lectures and sending them to students in 45 cities. His former students who had graduated from IIMs kept encouraging him to formalize his teaching. So finally in 2011, he founded Think and Learn Private Limited with his wife Divya, starting with just 25 students. By 2015, when smartphone penetration was exploding in India and parents were becoming increasingly anxious about their children's academic performance, they launched Byju's, the learning app. The timing was perfect. Indian parents were desperately seeking solutions for their children's education. The app promised engaging video lessons, personalized learning paths, and most importantly, results. The numbers were staggering. The app was downloaded 5.5 million times in the first year alone. By 2019, they had 40 million users. And soon after, COVID hit, which further gave a boost to online learning. By 2021, that number exploded to 150 million users worldwide. The revenue growth matched the user explosion. From 110 crores in 2016, they jumped to 3,250 crore rupees in 2022. That's a 32x growth in just 6 years. Byju's wanted to be the first name people thought of when they heard online learning in India. They wanted to shape public perception. They did exactly what Jio had done in 2017 during their launch. They copied Jio's IPL strategy to gain public attention. I've made a full video on this, you can check it out from here. So they went all out. TV ads, newspaper headlines, cricket stadiums, everywhere. They brought in Shah Rukh Khan as their brand ambassador sponsored IPL teams, and even the FIFA World Cup. Byju sir, as students lovingly called him, had become the face of India's EdTech revolution. But behind this spectacular success story, something sinister was brewing. The same growth strategy that made them India's most valuable startup was also setting them up for the most spectacular failure in Indian corporate history. Initially, for every 100 rupees they earned, they lost 45 rupees. Not great, but manageable. By 2021, they were earning 2,280 crore rupees but losing 4,588 crores. That means for every 100 rupees they earned, they were losing 189 rupees. And instead of fixing this problem, they kept spending more money on marketing and celebrity endorsements, which is the first reason why they deserve to fail. They were throwing money around like confetti at a wedding. Here's the problem nobody saw coming. They were spending more money on celebrities than their own teachers. They cared more about looking successful than actually being successful. But wait, it gets worse, much worse. Because while they were busy making themselves look good, something more scary was happening behind the scenes. According to investigations by the Hindu Frontline, Byju's sales team were actually going to chai stalls, markets, and even temples to find potential customers. Byju had put an immense amount of pressure on their sales team. If they didn't meet their target, they would be fired. So the team went to crazy extremes just to meet their targets. Their sales strategy was simple but cruel. Create fear in parents' minds about their children's future. They would tell parents, your child will fail if you don't buy our course. They would scare them into believing that without Byju's, their children had no chance of success. The most shocking part is that they were targeting families who clearly couldn't afford their expensive courses. How did they solve this problem? By making these families take loans. Let me explain this with a simple example. Suppose you're a rickshaw driver earning 15,000 rupees per month. A Byju salesman convinces you that your child needs their 1,35,000 rupee course to succeed. You obviously can't afford it. So they arrange a loan for you. 54 out of 110 families who complained didn't even know they were taking a loan. They thought they were just signing up for the course. This was possible because of something called first loss deposit guarantee. In simple terms, Byju's told the banks, if this family can't repay the loan, we'll pay it for them. So banks happily gave loans to anyone, even if they couldn't afford it. But what happens when thousands of families can't repay? Byju's becomes responsible for all these loans. This is where their financial troubles really began. This shopping spree made things much worse. Between 2019 and 2022, Byju's went on a buying spree. They acquired White Hat Junior for $300 million, Epic for $500 million, Great Learning for another $500 million, and Akash Educational Services for $950 million. They bought 17 companies in 5 years because they wanted to grow fast and become a global leader in online education. They bought companies in the US to expand their US footprint and especially get access to the 2 million teachers and 50 million children in Epic's existing global user base, and hence enter the biggest education market. Instead of making everything on their own, they bought other companies for coding, test prep, and upskilling. Investors were pushing for quick growth, and COVID made online learning super popular. Most companies they bought were also losing money. So along with new users, they also got new losses. Their total losses shot up from 262 crores in 2020 to 4,588 crores in 2021. And speaking of financial troubles, let's talk about how they started falling down bit by bit. 2024 didn't start well for Byju's. Their top lawyer, Roshan Thomas, quit the company. And if you know anything about business, it is when the top lawyer leaves, it's obviously not a good sign. Not long after, BlackRock, one of their biggest investors, slashed Byju's valuation by 95%. Let me repeat that, 95%. Just months ago, the company was worth $22 billion and now just $1 billion. But even that wasn't the whole truth. The real numbers were terrifying. Their losses shot up to over 8,200 crores in FY22, almost double than the previous year. They did not have a CFO from 2021 to 2023. The company was in such a bad state that it couldn't even afford to pay its vendors or staff on time. Legal cases started piling up. And this was just January. Then came a bold move. Byju's announced it wanted to raise $200 million, but at a 99% lower valuation. That shook things up. Major investors like Prosus, Peak 15, and General Atlantic pushed back. They wanted a new CEO and better leadership to fix things, especially if more money was going to be raised. It was clear Byju's wasn't just struggling, it was in serious trouble. But you haven't heard the worst part yet. August 2024, the end was near. Over 120 tuition centers locked across the country. Why? Because Byju's couldn't pay rent, electricity, or water bills. Teachers hadn't been paid in months. 80% of operations shut down. And if all of this wasn't enough, yes, there's more. US creditors alleged that Byju's had stolen $533 million. Yes, stolen. The Delaware Supreme Court ruled against them. They lost control of the companies they had bought for more than $900 million. One by one, everything disappeared. White Hat Jr. gone. Akash lost control. Great Learning taken by creditors. Epic and Osmo lost to US creditors. And then came the final blow. In 2025, something unthinkable happened. Byju's app was removed from Google Play Store. Why? Because they couldn't pay their basic cloud service bills. A company that was once worth more than the revenues of entire countries couldn't afford an internet bill. Baiju Ravindran, the man who once taught 20,000 students at once, is now hiding in Dubai, facing investigations by multiple government agencies. The question everyone asks, will he ever return to India? Legal experts say it's unlikely. When you have governments investigating you, creditors hunting you, and millions of angry parents whose dreams you shattered, coming back isn't easy. Byju says he's planning a fresh start for Byju's. He promises to put students and teachers first, not just profits. He also says he wants to bring back former employees and use AI to support, not replace teachers. He's planning to use AI and machine learning to make learning more personal for each student. He's even exploring cool tech like augmented reality and virtual reality to make lessons more fun and engaging. So, what can we learn from this spectacular rise and fall? Lesson number 1. Real success versus fake success. Spending 189 rupees to earn 100 isn't business, it's madness. Real success means building something that lasts, not just something that looks impressive. There is a difference between actually doing the work and pretending to do the work. Lesson number 2. Trust is everything. Byju's built their reputation over 10 years but destroyed it in just 2 years. Once you lose people's trust, especially parents' trust in their children's future, you lose everything. And lesson number 3. Growth versus greed. There's a difference between growing your business and growing your ego. Byju's was so obsessed with becoming India's biggest startup that they forgot to become India's best startup. Byju's didn't just fail, they deserved to fail. They built their empire on exploiting the dreams and fears of Indian families. They prioritized personal wealth over educational impact. They used financial tricks instead of creating real value. This story is a perfect example of what happens when you mistake growth for success, when you prioritize vanity metrics over fundamental business principles, and when you forget that your customers' trust is your most valuable asset. And as for the comeback attempt, only time will tell. But given their track record, it's hard to see how they can rebuild what they've destroyed. The edtech industry in India will survive and thrive, but it will be built by companies that put students first, not by companies that put profits first. And that's exactly how it should be. But what do you think? Have you or someone you know been affected by Byju's aggressive sales tactics? Share your story in the comments below. And if this story taught you something new, please like and subscribe for more such deep dives. I will see you next week. Ciao for now.